Let's dive right into this truly fascinating moment in history. Welcome to this explainer where we're going to step straight back in time to the morning of November 22nd, 725 AD. We're looking at a detailed account of an extraordinary, honestly almost unbelievable cultural exchange. We're witnessing the exact moment a rugged crew of Viking explorers formally meets the highest echelons of the Mayan civilization. Today, we'll see exactly how two completely distinct worlds collided. Not with swords, but with an incredible display of mutual curiosity. To really set the scene, picture this. We start in the Viking quarters on the morning of the big event. And the culture shock? It's hitting before they even step outside. These Vikings are a rough-and-tumble crew, totally used to the grime of travel. Yet, they wake up to find that tireless Mayan seamstresses, working with nimble fingers and knowing smiles, have expertly laundered, mended, and pressed literally every single tunic, cloak, and pair of breeches. Svilonki sums it up perfectly, saying, "By the Norns, I haven't been this clean since my naming day." The crew is absolutely shocked to find themselves entirely free of the trail's dust. I mean, fellow Viking Adolf Gustavus even remarks that he feels like pampered livestock. Section 1. Preparing for the ruler. This pampered, surprisingly clean morning prep really sets the perfect stage for what is, without a doubt, their most crucial encounter yet. So how does their leader, Ragnar, handle all this anticipation? Well, he understands that their appearance is just the first step. It's their behavior that's going to ensure their survival. He lays down some strict rules of engagement for his men. Today, respect is their shield. He tells the crew to be cheerful, actively friendly, and most importantly, completely tolerant. He reminds them, the Mayans have never seen people who look like Vikings before, so they absolutely cannot take offense at any staring or intense curiosity. It really is a masterclass in ancient diplomacy. Section 2. The Grand Plaza Encounter. With their clothes perfectly pressed and their minds focused on Ragnar's strict instructions, the crew is ready. Led by their wonderfully calm but visibly excited interpreter, Kubalu, they head straight toward the breathtaking colossal pyramid, El Castillo. The walk there? It's a total sensory overload that just builds and builds. They step out from the morning anticipation of their quarters right into the waking streets of this massive city. As they get closer to the pyramid, Kubalu guides them onto pathways covered in intricately woven carpets. The vibrant patterns are the stark, beautiful contrast against the rough earth. And as they walk, they literally feel a low murmur vibrating through the ground beneath their feet. It's the sound of thousands of expectant Mayan spectators lining the plaza, all waiting to catch a glimpse of these strange visitors. And boom, they hit the base of the towering stone steps of El Castillo. A platform is set up just a few steps up, placing the royal court in this elevated, commanding position. And the sight greeting them is just awe-inspiring. The Mayan ruler is seated with incredible regal bearing, adorned with a cascade of shimmering quetzal feathers and jade ornaments that are quite literally gleaming in the morning sun. Right by his side is his queen, radiating a profound, quiet strength. And completely surrounding them, a tight ring of elite soldiers standing perfectly motionless with glinting obsidian-tipped spears. It's this wild contrast, right? On one side, you have the massive crowd, thousands of Mayan spectators in their absolute finest woven garments, creating a sea of expectant curiosity and that low, vibrating murmur. On the other side, cutting through the heavy, sweet scent of copal incense, you have a silent conversation happening. It's a quiet, profound exchange of cultural respect between the Vikings and the ruler, lingering in the air before a single word is even spoken. Then, the silence breaks. The ruler begins the formal exchange, speaking in a deep, resonant voice with a cascade of sounds entirely unfamiliar to the Norsemen. Kubalu jumps right in, smoothly interpreting between the two drastically different languages. And the Vikings? They execute their instructions perfectly. Remembering their briefings, they navigate this formal meeting by offering slight bows, nodding, and keeping respectful eye contact without staring too hard. They project this absolute, perfectly balanced air of respectful curiosity. So the meeting is short and formal. As the ruler finishes speaking, he gives this very subtle gesture to Kubalu, signaling the audience is over. Kubalu turns to Ragnar, and in that split second, man, you could cut the tension with a knife. The Vikings have done everything right. But the big question remains, how is this massive, thousands-strong crowd actually going to react to them? Well, we get our answer instantly. The plaza suddenly erupts into a massive, happy roar. It's a sound of pure, genuine joy and collective excitement that just reverberates through the entire plaza. That massive cheer instantly washes away any lingering anxiety the crew might have had. It proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that Ragnar's respectful approach was an absolute success. They are officially welcomed. Section 3, a city in celebration. The release of tension is electric. The Vikings are swept straight from the formal plaza into the vibrant core of the city, which has been completely transformed. The city has erupted into a gigantic, immersive party. It's a full-blown festival, and the Vikings' senses are completely overwhelmed in the best possible way. There are tables everywhere, laden with exotic refreshments and totally unfamiliar delicious snacks. Dozens of graceful dancers are moving fluidly through the open spaces in a blur of colorful costumes. And the air is just filled with rhythmic musicians playing flutes, drums, and rattles, bouncing these lively melodies right off the stone architecture. The crew goes from quiet awe to just pure, joyous fascination. Christina, with her eyes wide as she takes in the swirling colors and rhythmic sounds, perfectly captures the mood. She says, "By the gods, this is a celebration." And another crew member, Ranveg, happily accepts a sweet fruit from a passing server, pointing out that their good behavior has definitely been rewarded. It's amazing seeing these cultural barriers break down on a personal level. Even the toughest Vikings let their guard down. Svend Loki jokingly complains about having to be tolerant while eyeing a stall of roasted insects, but then he admits he's absolutely craving another bite of the local sweetbread. And then there's Adolf Gustavus, usually super reserved and stoic, right? Well, even he allows a small smile to creep onto his face, admitting that the lively Mayan drum music has a rhythm that physically stirs his blood. Section 4, Evening Reflections. Throughout this wild day, Ragnar just moves through the crowds with this watchful but highly pleased look on his face. He's watching his men successfully heed his advice, making these clumsy but totally genuine attempts at friendly gestures with the locals, as the boundless energy of the festival swirls around them. But, as with all great celebrations, the day has to end. When dusk finally turns the sky to a deep indigo, the peaceful celebration naturally winds down. The crowds slowly thin out, the rhythmic music and laughter fade, and the Vikings are escorted safely back to their quarters. They head to bed with their minds absolutely buzzing as they process the sheer scale, majesty, and welcoming spirits of the Mayan civilization. So, what is the big takeaway from this explainer? It's that this was a monumental cultural breakthrough. This massive success between two warrior cultures hinged entirely on respect. It proves you can break monumental barriers with an open mind, a shared smile, a little tolerance, and maybe a plate of sweetbread. Ragnar's strategy of using respect as a shield proved way more effective than any physical armor ever could. But as the joyful echoes of the celebration fade into the ancient night, a new mystery is brewing. Kubalu mentioned that this public welcome was literally just the beginning. Tomorrow, the ruler intends to speak with Ragnar privately in much more detail, deep within the palace walls. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought. What vital details, secrets, or propositions is the ruler going to share when the party ends and the real diplomacy begins? We'll just have to explore that next time.